Hi, cutie pies. I am Lanikia, and you are watching What Happened on the Soaps. This is Days of Our Lives edition. Today is Wednesday, December the 6th, 2023. 6th, 2023. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to let you guys rate it. You tell me what you think. All right. So we see Jada and Rafe are in the, let's go. Oh, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We see Jada and Rafe are in the police station. They're doing their, talking, and they still cannot believe that the drugs went missing. And at this point, Paulina comes up, and I say, "Oh, wait, okay, Paulina is looking good." I know she lost some weight, but besides that, it looks like they're. She's always been pretty, but it looks like they're trying a little bit more on the wardrobe as well as the hair and makeup. And I don't know, she looks really nice to me. So she comes in, and y'all know Paulina. She told them, "I can't believe you let this drug deal go." And they said, "Well, somebody got in the evidence room." And she said, "How did that happen?" And a lot of you guys said, "So there were no cameras? Y'all can't run it back?" But they did tell her they're going to try their best to find out who did this, how it happened, and really crack down on the drugs that are coming into Salem. She said, "Y'all better." And that was pretty much it. She was just in and out. So then Jada and Rafe continue to talk, and Jada says, "Well, maybe it's my fault because the drugs were in there the last time I went into the evidence room. I could have swore I saw them. So I thought I locked the door, but maybe I didn't." And so they're just like trying to figure it out. Now they did say Gabby's gonna be happy that Dimitri was captured and everything. They're just catching up. So then she goes to her apartment and she puts up this Christmas tree. It wasn't much, but it was hers. Like, how people say it's mine. So they put it up, and then they get in the bed and tell each other they love each other, and that's it with them, child. Let's move on. So then we go over here to Trip and Wendy. Trip is back from Hong Kong. They buried Lee and everything, and she said her dad looked like he had aged 20 years. He and Lee did not end on good terms, because Lee had gave away his share, so his dad was upset with him and everything. So they didn't get to make up before Lee was murdered, and she doesn't understand why Gabby had to do this. And Trip is just there for her. He cooks, but she's not really hungry, but she says she's gonna try to take a few bites. And then they're just catching. Oh, Trip does tell her, "Do you want to move out of here?" Because she brings up Ava and everything she went through, and he said, "My mom's taking it well. She's actually out with Harris, and he had his reservations about him, but he's turning out to be a really good dude." So he has no complaints at this point. So then we see that Trip and Wendy, she just tells him she's glad his mom is doing better, but that she needs him. And they end up in the bed. Like, that's it. That's it. That's all they showed them for it. Let's move on. Oh well, Wendy does say she wants justice for Lee, and she won't be satisfied until uh, Gabby is put away. So then we see Ava and Harris. So he comes in and he tells her he wants to cook for her. That'll be their date. And she said, "You think Stefan will mind?" And she said, "No," because they're at the bistro. She was like, "No, and I think you have everything in there that you need to cook your dish." So he's gonna cook her an Italian dish and everything. So they start doing this, and then he brings up the evidence room key and how the drugs went missing, and he can't help but think that it could have been because of him. And she says, "Let's not talk about this anymore." Yeah, I bet you don't want to talk. Now y'all know Ava, my girl, but girl. So after they decide, just to sit down, eat, she compliments him on the cooking and everything. He starts bringing up his missing keys again. He says, "That's a bad first date. I'm not supposed to be bringing this up." And she was like, "No, it's okay." And then they end up kissing because they get off that subject. And then, she just thanks him for everything he's done for her. And of course, he says, it's his pleasure. He enjoyed this first date. She did as well. They end up kissing, and then he wants to take her home. Baby, at one point he put on some music because Ava was controlling the music off her phone, and he said, "Let me see your phone." I said, "Ooh." I thought he was about to see something on her phone, but he didn't. So they end up kissing, and then he leaves because it leaves her there because she tells him she has to take take care of a few things there. So that's it, them y'all. Then we go over here to Stefan. Now Stefan is out, in the I always forget what it's called, but in front of Sweet Bits and all that. I want to always forget. Is it the town square? He's out in the town square. And y'all know they always love to talk out loud, right? So he's in the town square, and he calls his mom Vivian and tells her, "Listen, I need your help. I need your help." Anyways, he tells her, "I need your help. Can you please help me out?" And she says, "Okay." No, he actually leaves a voicemail, and then when he gets off the voicemail, he starts talking out loud to himself, child. Here we go again. And he starts talking about how Clyde Weston, I mean, no, he doesn't. We know he's talking about Clyde, but he doesn't say his name out loud. So when Chad walks up, all he hears is him saying is that he needs to, he could murder him. So Chad says, "Who are you talking about?" And so Stefan is just like, "Oh, nothing. It was nothing." And he says, "What? No, I know who you were talking about. You were talking about EJ because it looked like for a moment there, Stefan might have told Chad, but he didn't because Chad jumped to that and he thought it was EJ. And he was like, I know Gabby. He put Gabby away, but she was holding the murder knife. He said she's innocent. She didn't do that. He said, but Lee Shin said her name on his deathbed, and he told him like that doesn't matter. It does not matter that he was out of it. So Lee could have been didn't really know what he was saying." And he said, plus, you know what happened to Gabby the last time she was in prison. I know you don't care. And Chad said, no, 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 I might not. Gabby might Gabby might not be my favorite person, but that doesn't mean I want anything to happen to her in prison. And so they start talking. And Chad says, I understand doing everything that you can for someone that you love, because that's what Stefan said he would do for Gabby, but he's not going to kill his brother, EJ. And so Stefan says, it sounds like you're talking right now or something. What have you done? And Chad was like, because y'all know he bought the paper and got Everett fired. But he was like, oh, I'm talking about with Abigail, how I tried to end Clyde. And Stefan said, oh, I wish you would have. He deserves it. And Chad is just like, you don't, that seems like that's strong. You don't really know him. He said, well, I mean, why would you feel that way? And he said, oh, because of Abigail. I know you don't want to hear this. Chad said, I don't. But he says, I did care about Abigail. Um, and I know she was suffering from mental illness, but I did care about her. And I hate that, Clyde took her out. And he was like, okay. But anyways, they continue to talk, and he says, "Well, I'm heading." Chad tells him, "I'm heading to the bistro to get something to eat." And Stefan lets him know it's closed, and actually, he's the new owner of it. Because Chad was like, "That's Stephanie's favorite place. I hope it isn't closed permanently." He said, "Well, actually, I'm the new owner." So Chad was like, "That don't make sense. Why are you the new owner of this?" Um, when Gabby is doing this murder, like, why would you? When do you have time for that? One, Gabby is on convicted of murder, and you're trying to work on that. And two, you were on. You're the CEO of Demira. So what? But at this time, Vivian calls Stefan, and so he ends up leaving Chad, so they couldn't go into details. And then we see once again, Stefan is talking, but he doesn't get caught. But still, he's talking out loud. This time he's in front of the pub, and he's asking Vivian to have Ivan to take Clyde Weston out in prison, and she won't do it because she said, "Baby, Gabby is the reason I am on the run because she ratted me out to the police." And I said, I figured that Vivian wouldn't do it. She was like, she ratted me out to the police, and he was like, "Mama, listen, you're away. You can't be brought back to Salem. Why, I love Gabby." And she told him, we didn't hear her side of the conversation, but from what he said, she told him, "We'll fall out of love with her because I'm not doing it." He said, "I'll find another way." I said, "You knew not to ask Vivian." I mean, see, this is why you can't cross people because Vivian would have helped him if she was there, but she's not there anymore. And then Gabby did her dirty by turning her in. So Vivi is not trying to help her. So then we go to Stephanie and Everett. So she goes to his room and everything, and he tells her that he talked to Gwen, and she was like, "Okay, why?" He said, "I wanted to know why she fired me," and he tells her, "But Gwen told me she didn't fire me because she sold her half of the paper." He said, "What?" Not he. She said, "What?" So then they said, "Who bought it?" She told her she wouldn't tell them, but they're going to investigate. So they start digging and they investigating, right? And they're looking, and they said, "Well, this company bought it, but it could be a shell company, and we don't know the name of the shell company." Plus, they said Xander won't tell who the new owner is. So Stephanie says, "My uncle Shane runs the ISA, and I'm sure he can get the information." So she hits him up. So then she and Everett start talking, and he just thanks her for all her help. And she also tells him that her I guess Jennifer and Jack have another paper, and he could go work for them. And he was like, "Thank you for that," and everything. Because that would make him leave out of town. And so then she was about to leave. She hugged him, and she was about to leave, and he gets an alert, and he sees who bought the paper. And she said, "Who is it?" He said, "Oh, your uncle couldn't find that information." She said, "Lies you tell. My uncle Shane is connected everywhere. That's like a cakewalk to him." Is it cakewalk? Anyways, y'all. He could find out who owns the paper now. And he was like, "Stephanie, just leave it alone." She was like, "No, tell me who. And y'all know how Stephanie can get when she wants to know information. So he was like, "Okay, fine." So he lets her look, and she said, "Chad? Chad, you got caught." So then Everett is just like, "I can't believe it was Chad." Because Stephanie has left at this point, and he's like, "I can't believe it was Chad." So then Chad comes home, right? And he's all like, "Hey, Stephanie," and he was gonna tell her about the bistro and all that. But she said, "Oh, hmm. But you want to tell me why you bought the paper and got Everett fired?" And I said, "Well, it is what it is, Chad. You shouldn't have done that. You should not have done that, Mr. Man." But y'all, that was Days of Our Lives today. It was actually a long, like the other two episodes have been like 34 minutes on Monday, 36 minutes on Tuesdays. This one was 42, and I guess because they're building the storyline, so they're like, remember all of this happened, because you know how they like to recap and then get into the storyline. So, anyways, it wasn't bad today. It wasn't bad. I guess I'll give it a solid 7. Y'all tell me what you think. Um, y'all, if you look in the comments,